Now, beloved in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, beloved in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, this is a very urgent message. A very urgent message promoting WD Frazee's sermon, the WD Frazee's sermon track, The Most Expensive Wool, The Most Expensive Wool, and Left, Right, and Center. In WD Frazee's sermon, The Most Expensive Wool, he talks about how Moses was heir apparent to the throne. His father was a slave. His mother was a slave, and they tried to kill him at birth. But God had a mission for Moses. He was put on a riverbank by his sister Miriam, and by his older sister Miriam, and he was watched by his older brother Aaron, and he was watched by his older sister Miriam, and his mother was protecting him from the wrath of the king, because the law was to kill all male babies that was born in his day, to basically practice Planned Parenthood of his day, abortion. And they couldn't kill Moses because God had a special plan for Moses to deliver God's people from bondage, Egyptian bondage. That prophecy was actually prophesied in Genesis about the 400 years. After 400 years, he was sent to deliver his people out of bondage, beloved, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And Moses, when he had become 40 years old, he according to Hebrews, instead of calling himself a son of Pharaoh's daughter, he chose rather to suffer affliction with the people of God rather than enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Think of it, beloved. Isn't that a good plan to have in life? Not being wealthy and powerful like Obama or like Creflo Dollar or like these other people of color in this country that have power and greatness, but to die like Martin Luther King for your people, to die like Jesus for your people, isn't that a better plan? So Moses, instead of being a great leader in Egypt and having the Pharaoh's kingdom, he led his people out for almost 40 years in a hot desert trying to get to Canaan land. And instead of him getting to Canaan land, he gets spiritual Canaan land. And he gets into heaven 3 days after he's resurrected, 3 days after he dies. But he never sees the earthly promised land because, of course, he lost his temper. But all of that perfected his character, and he chose rather not to be called a son of Pharaoh's daughter. Then this next tracklet, called Left, Right, and Center by Sister Ellen G. White, that WD Frazee actually produced, is called Left, Right, and Center by WD Frazee. He's a Seventh-day Adventist medical missionary and an elder in a Seventh-day Adventist church. He started that beautiful medical missionary school called Wildwood. This is a tract that he made back in the day. It's called Left, Right, or Center. Left, Right, or Center. A comrade of mine told me to produce his sermon, to comment on his sermons, rather than trying to do it with all the controversy, and actually put his sermons on my Facebook page, because that'll gather me the better reputation for my ministry than just talking negative about women's ordination or the Sunday surge or all this kind of stuff. He said, Lucius, stop cursing the darkness. Give people a better plan. Well, look right here what she says right here. She says, God is bringing out a people and preparing them to stand as one, united to speak the same things, and thus carry out the prayer of Christ for his disciples. The criticizers imply that a new movement is necessary. Some actually split off to start a new one. We have had these all along the way for the last 100 years. Some of them, while participating in offshootism, have emphatically denied any such intentions. And that's what they do. They talk negative about Pastor Ted Wilson, say he's giving awards to the man of sin power and stuff like that, but they're not giving the whole reason why he gave it to Pope Francis. In the book of Evangelism, he says, We're to make pastors of ministers of other Christian denominations. Now, the Catholic Church, while it is a system, a false system, is a false system just like the apostate Protestant churches are. And so we can make friends out of them. And or they say things like, come out of the Adventist church because they're joined with the man of some power and all kinds of stuff like that, and don't return tithe and come out of Babylon, they say. And these same people cough up and almost drop dead when you give them your tithe for their ministry, rather than a deacon's fund. A deacon's fund goes to them because they can get books for your ministry. When you give them a tithe, beloved, you're being divisive of the Seventh-day Adventist church leadership. But don't give your tithe to any ministry, especially any independent ministry that's criticizing our general conference leader. We need to be left, right, and center, not being down for salvation style worship, not being down for sin of theology or can't victory over sin, not being out of situational ethics. We need to keep God's holy Sabbath holy. We need to not be down for eating meat and dairy and the flesh pots of Egypt. We need to follow the dress reform. But we need to be left, right, or center. It's going to be left, not following God, right, legalistic, or center, being right in the middle, not being a balanced Christian. We need to be balanced Seventh-day Christians. Balanced. The church may appear as about to fall, but does not fall until the sin of Zion is shaken out and feeble and effective as a church may be. It is still the apple of God's eye. Be left, right, or center. Most Congregation, Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all wonderful mercy and blessings. You impressed me to preach on WD Frazee's sermon rather than many other topics. Save people in your kingdom, not the lost one. Let them be left, right, or center. Keep the Sabbath holy, not endorse the surge, not endorse women's nation, but not curse the darkness, and love the leaders and work with them. Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Right now, God bless you, family.